Well guys, I'm sorry to have another video on Starmer's immigration lies, but the desperate Ponces currently shitting the bed over it keep pivoting from point to point, trying to defend their open borders bollocks with ever-growing levels of desperation.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Well, this desperation has taken them back to the good old lie that they love to spout so often that claims Britain is an island of immigrants.
Bollocks.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you've all heard the same lie tried out online that claims Britain was always an island of immigrants or that it was built by immigrants, which of course is total bollocks on both points, and we'll prove it in this video. First off, let's start with the Britain is a nation of immigrants bollocks using the UK census details going back as far as we can, which granted isn't very far, but we don't need to go back that far because the point's proven almost straight away. I mean, in 1951, the UK ethnic population was literally 0.1%, or around 50,000 people total. This, I might add, includes the Windrush generation that's often touted as being the people that helped rebuild Britain after the war.
Bollocks.
This despite the fact the entire Windrush generation consisted of like 500,000 people coming here over the course of 22 years. And by 1951, so 3 years after it started, the total number of them and all other ethnic imports still had not gone over 50,000. Proving, like we all know, that Britain was not a nation of immigrants, and the Windrush generation, like every other immigrant group, did very little to help rebuild Britain, if anything. Well, with the exception of Ireland, but they're hardly immigrants, let's be honest. In fact, let's be brutally honest here and point out that the Windrush generation was also not invited to Britain by Brits, as is often claimed. Instead, like 350 tickets were sold in the Caribbean and the boat left before anyone in England even knew about it. Unfortunately, weak and worthless politicians let them in, so no, they were not invited, and also lacked the numbers to make any real difference to rebuilding Britain. 3 or more years after the war ended, it makes no bloody difference. But the fact either of them lies are allowed to be spread by these tosspots is baffling to me, because we literally have the figures from history that proves the UK was not a nation of immigrants until very recently. In fact, the figures show that more people have arrived in the past few years than arrived between 1951 and 2001. But probably the best evidence of all that Britain is not an immigrant country is video evidence from British history that shows a level of diversity we could only dream of. Yeah, it hurts my heart to see videos of London back in the day compared to now. Shit, just remembering when I was a kid compared to now is devastating enough. But it does prove beyond all fucking doubt that England was not a nation of immigrants even 50 years ago, and only is now because corrupt scumbags decided to make it one against our will.
Wankers! Wankers!
Pandemic